Hey y'all, RotomTCG here, just prefacing this video by saying hello, welcome to my channel. I typically stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RotomTCG. I currently am streaming Thursdays and Sundays, and this video is a summary of the Scarlet and Violet first impressions that I had over on that stream. So be sure to give that a check, and if you like the content and want to see more of me, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, enjoy the video. So first off, this Cacnea has an ability, so worth reading, I guess. The Bennett brings back item lock. Yeah, I know. it was Vikavolt rotating, and it's back. It's back already. Klefki seems interesting. Seems like a more splashable. Yeah, I think that's the idea. And with the new stadium, giving the one retreat to, or doing -1 retreat to everything, you could definitely see that as like a combo where most decks that just need an answer to Mew could opt to play that over Path, especially if they're ability reliant. Let's see. So this Klefki, or I'm sorry, this Cacnea says put 3 damage if it gets hit. What's the Cacturn do? Same kind of thing. Vanilla 110 on a stage 1. This seems like it's too weak. 110, not really worth it for the 3 energy cost, and even if they hit you and knock you out, the 30 extra damage isn't super relevant. Oh, hello Drago. Hope you're doing well. We are reviewing this new set. Let's see. So yeah, I'd say this combo, if we're doing like a rating 1 to 5, I think this combo is definitely a 1. Let me turn my volume down too. Boop. Very loud. That is what we were trying to figure out. I'm doing kind of first impressions, so so far, not all that impressed, but maybe something will change my mind going forward. Okay, let's see. Skiddo, nothing special. Go-Goat, also nothing special. Vanilla Bulk. Wait for Spidops EX and Toxicroak. I bet. Absolutely, we'll take a look at those. You saw Professors and Ultra Ball are getting reprints. Yep, I did see that as well. Though they wouldn't be rotating even next year anyhow, just because they were reprinted already in Brilliant Stars. So they'll definitely already be legal for the next 2 years. But this just kind of extends it. So Go-Goat and Skiddo, still 1 out of 5 for sure. Not really impressed. Smoliv, nothing too special other than the art. The art seems really goated. Really love the kind of wheat grass field. Let's see, Dolive. During your opponent's next turn, tries to attack. Okay, I mean, it's an option, but not really super strong. Arboliva. Ability Fill Oil. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, during your turn, you may heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. Now this could be interesting. I think the opportunity, like abilities like this have been okay in the past. Being able to instantly heal all damage with little to no downside other than kind of developing a stage 2 might be worth it. It's on the cusp, I'd say, because if Scoop Up Net was still legal, this card would be probably pretty okay. I had a lot of, I guess, in the past there were a lot of kind of really good like tanking decks, and you'd like have combos where you'd move the energy off and then like heal all the damage off. It was like super slow, but if you did it, it was extremely crushing, and it would really work well in grass decks in general. Like I distinctly had like a Meganium deck where you move the energy off and then fully healed with Blissey Prime, and the same kind of effect was really strong with Aromatisse and Max Potion. The problem is it's kind of gated by the stage 2. So if they do reprint, if they do reprint like a scoop up kind of thing where you could use this over and over again, uh, it's definitely better. That's kind of like LDF's new Corviknight deck with Bronzong, Cheryl, and Zacian. Oh, that sounds good. Like the Corviknight where you've where it bounces the card to your hand. From Burning Shadows, I want to say. When you evolve. I used to have that Corviknight in a Lapras deck. For doing a pretty similar kind of thing. Oh, okay. Okay, Cheryl. Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense, yeah. Similar kind of thing. Move around the energy, fully heal. Is it better than Cheryl? Absolutely not. So I guess when you kind of compare it to Cheryl, it's probably, or it's definitely not as good. But if they do print some other cards in the future, this is definitely one to look out for, especially if there's some kind of other tanky thing that doesn't get one shot kind of thing. Oh, Scapegoat, Corviknight, kind of funny. Yeah, for sure. Uh, being able to tank and full heal seems pretty good right now. I think your only main weakness would be like probably the Rayquaza amazing rare that the lost box decks are playing. But yeah. So out of 5, I'd say this is probably in between a 2 and a 3. So like 2.5. But definitely maybe something to pick up just if you have extra funds and you might see it, or like might. I guess it's a believer card, if I'd have to say. Torkoal, Stampede, 30. Um, that's not great, but then Fire, colorless, colorless, concentrated fire, 80 damage, flip a coin for each fire attached to this Pokemon. It does 80 times the number of heads. So, I mean, best case scenario, you get like 4 fire realistically. I just don't know. I'm not seeing how you power this thing up. Other than like, yeah, I'm just not seeing how you power this up other than like Magma Basin. So I'm not super convinced on this guy. You might try it in GLC. What, this guy or the Arboliva? Oracle? Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean in GLC I could see it. I could see it because you're playing like Embor and stuff like that. Where you can accelerate it. But in terms of like playing it in standard, like I don't see it. So tentatively 1 out of 5 for post rotation standard. Let's see. Charcadet, yeah, Charcadet. Uh, for 130 damage, discard an energy. Okay. And then Armarouge, as often as you like, you may move a fire attached to one of your benched Pokemon to your active. So, I mean, I guess this is how you kind of power up the Torkoal in an ideal world, but I'm not sure how you're getting the fire on the bench. But yeah, extremely men's standard for sure. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this seems like a cool effect. If there's some other way to gain a whole bunch of fire energy and put them on every Pokemon and then bring that up, then you could realistically see play with this. Other than that, I like the card art. This seems just like a cool Pokemon in general. So I'd say interesting ability. Will it see play? Not that I can see not that I can see. So probably a 2 out of 5. Um, let's see. Magikarp. Flip a coin. If heads, does 10 to 1 of your opponents. Kind of meh. But evolves into Gyarados EX. Terastall, this doesn't take any damage while on the bench. I wish they would make a different Terastall effect, but not too bad. See, in theory, you could use this to combat Magma Basin's limitation to fire Pokemon. I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. But it seems like pretty slow if I had to say so. Um Other than that, 3 water, vanilla 100, and then for water, colorless, tyrannical tail 180. They already have any damage. It does 180 more damage. So that is a lot of damage, but I don't know how we're getting 5 energy on this thing. Also, it has 4 retreat cost. I'm not sure why Pokebeach has it listed as 1 retreat cost, but if they have some way to accelerate it to 5 energy, sure. I guess you could see play. But also with the release of Miraidon, I'm not super seeing how this seems play. It just seems like a little too slow. But it has, I guess, it seems okay. With Palkia and DT. Oh yeah, that is true. You can Palkia V-Star onto this. So you get the 1 out. So you pitch everything, you get the 1 out with the Palkia V-Star. And then let's see, how do you get the 10 damage on? Like Zigzagoon's rotating, so yeah, there's that, I guess. Maybe you play it with like Old Cemetery if that's not rotating, just to make your opponent kind of play into it. Oh, Jay Sleepy, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say maybe 3 out of 5. It definitely seems better than some of the other stuff we've seen already. This very much seems like a card YouTubers make fun videos about then never touch again. Yeah, that sounds about right. I might do that myself, to be honest. Gotta farm the 1 game out of 20 that this combo actually works. All right, yeah. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. Like better than the stuff we've seen, but still not playable. Or like consistent playable. Only because like not looking at this card in a vacuum, just like with other lightning stuff being or coming out that's like fast, I just don't know how you realistically commit 5 energy and if it gets knocked out, you recover. Weasel, vanilla card, Floatzel, 2 colorless, Hydro Pump 50 plus 20 more for each water. I mean, it's just too little damage output, to be honest. I think it just gets a 1. Even with 2 energy, 90, sure, but like, I don't know. It just seems like too little. Any more energy that you commit, just you could be playing Palkia. Let's see, Bruxus, Vivid Charge, search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck, then Wave Splash for 60. Also seems too slow. There's hand disruption. I'm not convinced. Gets another 1. Moving on. Let's see. Wiglet. Let's see, prevent all damage, and then another Wiglet, discard. So you have like a mill kind of thing. It evolves into Sea Tunneling Wugtrio. Flip 3 coins for each head. Heads, discard the top 3 of your opponent's deck. Okay, so I mean, this seems, if it's discard 3 for each, this seems kind of crazy. Because I mean, if you flip 3 heads, you discard like 9 cards, which is insane. This, I mean, let's see. So you can, there's definitely something to power up kind of thing. This is gonna be a really funny tricky gym video. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely gonna be trying to mill a ton of cards. When I get this guy out, kind of thing. I think this is tier meme. Definitely 3 out of 5. If we can find some way to accelerate and we can flip enough heads, I think Glimwood Tangle might be rotating, which sucks. But if it were still in the format, that would be definitely a consideration in this deck. Okay, so moving on. This guy, Dondozo, 2 colorless, Vent Wrath, 50 times the amount of Tatsugiri in your discard pile. And it's a basic 160 HP, which is a lot. Heavy Retreat 4. So in combination with this Tatsugiri, I'm assuming, search your deck for 2 water, attach them to one of your bench. Okay, so I mean, this is cool. So if you start the Tatsugiri, you can accelerate into the Dondozo. So that seems definitely pretty good. This thing caps at 200, but you can also just play it with double turbo, which for 180 for a double turbo on a stage 1 with 100, or on a basic with 160 HP, definitely seems pretty strong actually. So I could definitely see this being an actual deck. Not sure, kind of, I guess the main pitfall would be your heavy retreat cost, and then if you start a Tatsugiri and your opponent gusts around it, your damage is kind of, I guess, gimped a little bit because you're only then swinging for like 130, which is still, I mean, inherently stronger than like Cramorant or something like that. Let's see. Seems like a fun League Cup caliber deck if you can get it working consistently. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that for sure. This definitely seems. Let's see. This definitely seems like out of 5. I would definitely say it's still a 3, but it's probably like a high 3. Like this seems really strong, and I'm definitely going to be picking up a playset of these for sure. Just because the raw tankiness seems good enough. And then, yep. Oh, I guess the water, actually, that's cool. The 30 damage, and you get to put it into your hand. So even if you start it, you can bounce it back to your hand, which is sick. So it gets even better. It's a super high 3, maybe even a low 4. This reminds me of the Cramorant that does damage for discarding Aracuda. Yeah, and that deck was like, the thing with that deck is you had to discard the Aracuda every turn, and it was still like pretty good. It was definitely like that tier meme, but like this just seems better than that. So I definitely am gonna keep my eye out on this kind of general single prize archetype going forward for sure. And Watrel. I love this whole like evolution line in the actual Pokemon game. It's been super. I love the kind of theme of like Electric Bird. So I'm definitely about this. But Kilowattrel for 2 does on a stage 2, it does 50 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness or resistance, and 140 discard a lightning. So I mean, this card's unplayable. Too slow. But super cracked in terms of art and like general theming of the Pokemon in general. Classy Twinkie, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you enjoy your stay here. All right. Big boy cards coming up, I think. So we have Ralts, Curlia, and then Gardevoir EX. With the ability Psychic Embrace, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic Psychic from your discard to one of your Psychic Pokemon. If you do, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. And you can't use this ability if it would knock out the Pokemon. So that's a good thing. No Rosalina, or not Rosalina, Roxanne shenanigans to be had here. And then let's see. Yeah, creatures certainly does like Gardevoir. And then the attack does, let's see, Psychic, Colorless, 190. Heal all special conditions from this Pokemon. That seems, I mean, in general, kind of like a lackluster attack. It's okay. And then obviously stage 2 with 310 HP. That's insane. It only gives up 2 prizes. Very strong. So, I mean, realistically, this is gonna see play in something. I'm just not entirely sure what yet. I mean, you could play it with like Shadow Rider. You can play it with. I mean, realistically, you could even play it with like Mewtwo V Union or something like that. Trying to think what else would maybe fit in here. But yeah, this card's absolutely insane. Yeah, you can play it with other Gardevoirs too. Like you get, not only do you get the Refinement Curlia to get that trade and draw or whatever, but you also get the other Curlia that is basically like the old Frogadier. When you attach and use its attack, it lets you search out all other stage 1 like Curlias that you'd have in your deck. So you could theoretically even play like a split where you have just the one Curlia that searches out all the other Curlias. And you even get the crazy Gardevoirs, like you get the Galades and the other crazy Gardevoirs. So the refinement one is like okay, but you get like the supporter fetch Galade, you get the other let me see if I can find the other Gardevoir. Oh yeah, the Shining Arcana one from Chilling Rain. It lets you look at the top 2 and attach any other number of basic energy cards. But also the attack does 30 plus 60 for each psychic attached to the Pokemon. I don't know. The possibilities seem like they're endless. So this card definitely seems like it's one of the, if not the strongest card in the set. Just because you have a lot of options. And then let's see, you're gonna try it in Sanders V Union Gengar deck. Yeah, that could work for sure. Yeah, you just any I guess inclination where you power up something super strong and this thing itself is super hard to knock out, so people aren't going to necessarily target it easily. Yeah, this is definitely a 5 out of 5. Yeah, this card's nuts. Please make my boy Mewtwo V-Star good. Oh my god. The problem with Mewtwo V-Star is I guess the damage output, because I think it caps at 270 if memory serves. Because you can only discard X number of cards, but who knows? With the sheer power of this card, I think it's certainly possible. Yeah. Um let's see. Drifloon, Gust for 10, and then Psychic Balloon Bomb 30 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Seems kind of meh. Could be funny, but seems kind of meh because it's just gonna get knocked out. Then the Drift Blim, uh, same Gusts, just stronger. Then Psychic. Put 8 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So I mean, I would write this card off, but you can opt to maybe even play this with the Gardevoir. So there might be some like spread archetype that comes out where you just utilize this like turn 3 and start jamming 8 damage counters on everything. And like stalling with Gust, that kind of thing. Um, so I would say I wouldn't necessarily write it off just because there are cards that exist that now can accelerate the Psychic on. So I think it's probably still a 2 if I had to put it out of 5, but could see play for sure. Might be used like Sableye and non-Lost Box decks. Yeah, for sure. I think anything that is running Gardevoir could technically run this, so definitely a card to just not bulk necessarily. You can kind of check if it fits that niche that you're looking for. All right, Dedenne. 1 Psychic Energy Bite. 30, flip a coin if heads, discard an energy. Okay, that's 1 out of 5 bulk. Not good, not good. Alright, Fido. Definitely, I love the flavor of this guy. A dog that's also pastry is hilarious to me. Evolves into Dash Bun. Well-baked body, prevent all damage done by your opponent's fire Pokemon. This Pokemon cannot be burned. So, I mean, this card has a unique ability. We've seen it in the past with Bronzong, if memory serves. I believe it was heat proof, and it actually did see a little bit of play back then. Because you walled a really good fire Pokemon with the Reshiram and Charizard GX tag team. So realistically, this could see play in the future. I don't think we have any good fire types, at least currently. So I don't think this guy is going to see play off from the get-go, but if they do release some kind of crazy fire archetype going forward, people can definitely come back to this card and say, no, I'm just going to wall you. Oh. Alright, I'll go ahead and adjust the music. I am so sorry. Alright. Yeah, sorry about that. Is that a lot better? It's so variable with these different music videos, so sorry about that. But anyway, we did see this card in the past with Bronzong through around the time when the fire type Reshiram and Charizard GX was popular and it actually saw play. And then while I think that this card isn't good currently, just because we don't have any fire type Pokemon good right now, you could definitely look back at this ability going forward if there is a fire archetype that comes out that's really strong. I'd say not terrible. Probably like between a 2 and a 3 out of 5. Let's see. Flittle. Spinning attack, 20 damage. Then 10 damage, switch with the other one. Evolves into Espathra, which does 20 during the opponent's next turn. This defending Pokemon can't retreat. And then for Psychic, colorless, you do the attack Psychic, which does 30 plus 50 from each energy attached to your opponent's active. So the one instance where I could see this being somewhat playable is in like a control Locky style thing where you attach a double turbo and you make the insight deal 0 damage. And it just reads that during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So you just kind of try and bring up a Pokemon on the bench and stall it out and have it so they can never retreat. Seems overall lackluster just because there are cards currently in the format like the Block Snorlax, which have that same kind of effect on an ability. They don't really see play in general. So I'd say this is probably a 1 out of 5. Right, moving on. We have Meditite. Let's see, Faint, 10 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by resistance. Then the Evolution Medicham, for 1 fighting energy, Bullseye Aim, 30 damage. Choose one of your opponent's attacks during that opponent's next turn. They can't use that attack. And then Kick Shot, 1 fighting for 90. Flip a coin if tails. This attack does nothing. So that seems overall pretty meh. I think there have been other Pokemon in the past that have had the choose one of the opponent's attacks and they can't use it, which have never been good. Even the one fighting for 90 just seems lackluster, and it relies completely on a coin flip. So I'd say this is currently just a 1 out of 5. Just one random account too. Only 3 cards are good in the set. Yeah, fair enough. I'm just kind of going through them all, just making sure I'm not missing anything, kind of thing. But yeah, definitely options. Let's see, and then we have Riolu, which evolves into Lucario, and then Lucario for 1 fighting, 30. Any of your fighting Pokemon were knocked out. It's like Retaliate. You do 150 for 1 fighting. I think that's kind of the main draw of this card. The second attack doesn't seem like it's super good. You're not hitting. I guess this card is actually not too bad if you're able to. I guess the one thing I'm thinking of with this is you could maybe play it in the Zoroark list if you're playing like a different fighting Pokemon. The art rares look so nice. Yeah, we'll be getting into those for sure. But the Vengeful Knuckles, 1 for 150. I mean, Retaliate has been good in the past. So I mean, this could see play, but realistically, it seems like it's a little too slow. So we might have to like wait until after like 2 rotations for like things like the V-Stars to rotate and everything to slow down. But currently, I'd say this is like a 1 out of 5. Then we have Sandile, Lackluster, Payback, Croc, 30 plus 90 if they have 1 prize remaining, kind of meh. And then Crocodile, 1 fighting, Voracious Bite, 50 damage, flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active. And then for 2 fighting, it does 180 and 30 to each of your bench. All right. While this card seems kind of lackluster, especially since it's a stage 2, the art is so sick. I love this. He's a croc boy chilling by the beach. We like that. But in terms of playability, I'd say 1 out of 5. Too slow. Yep, definitely just chilling. He's got his shades on. Okay, Halucha. Basic Pokemon ability Flying Entry. When you play this from your hand onto your bench, you may choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and put 1 damage on each of them. Okay, I mean, so I guess here's the Gyarados card. Is he taking a sunbath? Yeah, it looks like it. He's got his what's it called? Got his shades on, just chilling by the beach. So I mean, we're losing Zigzagoon. And then this has to be onto bench Pokemon, which makes it slightly worse than Zigzagoon, I'd say. But the ability to pick 2 is certainly really good. So I'd say this is definitely a solid. Yeah, I think this card can go crazy. I mean, we're losing Scoop Up Net, which sucks. But Flash Bite, which was on Crobat in the past, was super good. And the ability to hit 2 separate Pokemon is actually really good too. So I think this card definitely has potential, and I think out of 5, I would give it a 4. How long have I been playing the TCG? I've been playing it for this is my 16th year going forward. I've been playing since 2007. A worse version than Zig and Distortion Doratina, but still really cool. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I've been around for quite a while. But yeah, this seems good for sure, and I'm giving it a 4. Silicobra, Mud Slap, fighting colorless, and you do 30. Evolves into Sandaconda, 120, and then Violent Dust Cloud for 3 fighting, 1 colorless. Discard 2 energy. Your opponent shuffles their active into their deck. So I mean, that's hilarious. This is definitely tier meme. Catch Mahone playing this with this and Koraidon probably. Accelerating turn 1 onto your Silicobra and then attaching, and then turn 2 shuffling your opponent's Pokemon in, I think would be hilarious. But yeah, in terms of actual playability, 1 out of 5 for sure. Let's see, Cloth. Just 130 basic, Vice Crit, 50, 130 for 3 fighting. Pokemon is now confused. Alright, well this is bulk, unfortunately. I like this Pokemon design though. Very cool. Yeah, it is just a very bad GGN. That's exactly it. And you can't power it up with Tapu Koko, all the broken stuff. Yeah, Crab Guy, bulk card, but sick Pokemon design in general. Okay, Great Tusk EX. Basic 250 HP, which is a lot for a basic anyway. Bedrock Breaker, 40, discard a Stadium. Interesting, I guess. And then for 3 fighting, 250, and it does 50 to itself. So I mean, this seems okay. I think what a lot of people are kind of forgetting with this guy is that Koraidon is a thing. So, um, like from the get go, I mean, it's not from the get go. It looks pretty vanilla in terms of actual like card text, but I mean, the idea of hitting or 250 on turn 2 doesn't seem horrendous, especially on a basic Pokemon. The fact it does hit itself is pretty bad. So it does make your opponent's like return KO pretty easy, but uh, I could realistically see a world where some kind of aggressive fighting deck pairs the Great Tusk with the Koraidon and just tries to get the fighting out. The problem I see with the Koraidon is that it has to be from discard, which makes it like a lot worse than grabbing the fighting from the deck. But I mean, if you're able to kind of fulfill the awkwardness, it's it's not as bad as it looks. Um, but I guess that being said, I'm not personally a believer. Um, love the Tusky Boy for sure. Yeah, I like the design of this Paradox Pokemon, but I just don't see a world where you're getting the fighting in the discard and accelerating it turn 1 unless they do something like change the supporter rule, which they might. I mean, it's a new block. We'll have to see what they do, but and then Koraidon ability Dino Cry. Oh, let me give this a rating out of 5 actually. Uh, so I'd say it's probably a 2. Um, it just seems a little too vanilla is the thing. And vanilla cards just aren't doing enough. But we have Koraidon EX, ability Dino Cry. Once during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic fighting from your discard to your basic fighting in any way you like, and then your turn ends. And then fighting, colorless, 220 during your next turn. This Pokemon can't attack. So yeah, kind of what I was saying off of the Tusky Boy. It's just too slow. If you whiff this guy turn 1, your deck realistically has no acceleration. And then you're just playing a whole bunch of clunky basic fighting EX that can't really attack unless they have 3 fighting on their turn. And if you spend a turn doing this when your opponent's attacking, you're in a bad spot. So I would say this is probably a 2 out of 5, just because the ability is just unique enough to make it not completely a 1. Okay, Grimer, Super Poison Breath, kind of meh, but evolves into Muck. Poison Sacs, the special condition Poison is not removed when your opponents evolve or devolve. So I mean that's kind of interesting. Muck plus Toxicroak is a cool combo if you remember correctly. All right, well, we'll go ahead and look at the Toxicroak pretty soon. But I think the idea of being able to poison and have it stick on there is pretty cool. Unfortunately, the main pitfall I see with this card is poison still removed when you retreat. So if things exist that have a lot of pivoting options, it's not great. Oh, made it for once. Welcome, Spectra. And also thank you for the Prime earlier. We are, what's it called? We have 3 subs away from another emote. So hopefully get that goal soon. Let's see. So Seviper can poison. So I mean, you could play Seviper in this poison style archetype. Let's see what the Toxicroak does though. So let's see. Nasty Plot for 1 dark. Search your deck for up to 2 cards. Put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Okay, not too bad. And then 1 for dark and a double colorless or 2 colorless energy. Toxic Ripper. 120. Your opponent's active is now poison. Put 6 in between turns instead of 1. Okay, so yeah, it's a cool combo for sure. So you're doing. It's on a stage 1. Realistically, probably it's going to be dark energy into double turbo, and then you're doing 100 and then 160 with the poison. So that doesn't seem too bad. The damage seems a little low, especially going forward with how many things have just so much HP. That's I guess my one concern. But the combo does seem pretty reliable, and the energy requirement to actually use this doesn't seem too bad at all. I'm trying to think what other dark Pokemon stay in the format. Yeah, so it can't one-shot Mew, but we are keeping Energy Switch and Galarian Moltres V, so you could realistically accelerate energy through that as well. So I mean, I kind of like it. The whole package, it's there. I thought if you could use this with Spite Ops to make it harder to retreat too, there might be a better way. All right, we'll have to definitely keep Toxicroak in mind when we look at Spite Ops. You want to use the recent Blister Pack Krogunk with this since it's dancing like the singing Looney Tunes frog, like the "Come on, my baby." Yeah, that's a vibe. I gotta look at the card art for that. Okay, yeah. Let me look at that real quick. Krogunk promo. Oh, I love that. That is so good. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that is so good. But yeah, we'll take a look at we'll take a look at Spite Ops with this in mind. But tentatively, uh, I'd say this is probably around a 3 out of 5 with the whole package. Kind of on the cusp of 4 out of 5. Um, but yeah, I do want to kind of look at it. I guess in general, first impression, I'd say 3 out of 5. Still really cool though. Then we have Poniard, basic, kind of vanilla. Jump to Bisharp, 40 and then 120 for 2. Bulk in general, but wait, Bisharp actually evolves in this generation. So that's sick. You'll take a 60% just like high school grades. Hey yo. Hey yo, what were your high school grades? Just, C's get degrees, right? Let's see. King Gambit, generalship. As long as this is in play, your basic Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active. So we saw this on, I believe, Cinderace. Yeah, this is a bop, Clam Burglar. Let's see. I Lonely Bot. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Not sure why alerts aren't working, but I see you. I see you. King Gambit seems too weak. Additional 30 damage seems way too slow. So I think this guy's a bulk man, but still cool and Definitely wins in the card art design, or like the Pokemon art design, because he's just like Shogun status, which is sick. Um, Moving forward, we have Varoom, which is such a unique looking Pokemon. Wow. And it evolves into Varoom. Ability Rumbling Engine. You must discard an energy from your hand to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw until you have 6 in your hand. So stage 1 consistency card. That seems really sick. You're never realistically attacking with this, but the idea of discarding an energy to draw up to 6 seems really, really insane. We used to have a Claydol that had a pretty similar effect way back in the day, where you discarded, or you put 2 on the bottom of your deck and then you drew back up to 6, and you could do it every turn. And it made decks like super consistent. So I definitely want to keep my eye on this guy. If you play enough energy, like you're getting constant draw. You can play other supporters. Yeah, this seems really good. And the 2 energy retreat cost and it being on a stage 1 one prizer does not seem like a huge deterrent. So I'm probably a believer. Just how many you play of this, I'm not sure. But yeah, this card, better Bibarel. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see it for sure. Maybe better Radiant Greninja. I don't know about that one. Radiant Greninja is so cracked, but this card seems really insane. Yeah, the 140 HP makes it just a tanky monster. Alright, out of 5. Will it see play in every deck? I'm not entirely sure. So I'm gonna do the conservative play and give this a 4 out of 5. But I could easily see this jumping up to a 5 out of 5. But yeah, this card seems nuts, and it's such a unique looking Pokemon. Yeah, I like that a lot. 4 out of 5. Cracked consistency. We love that. Okay, Zangoose, drag off, switch one of your opponent's bench. Okay, this is bulk, 1 out of 5. Too slow, or I mean, just not enough damage. Starly, nothing too special. Staraptor, for a 2 colorless, spin away, 60. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done by attacks from basics. Okay, so you got like callback to Flying Pikachu. I'm not sure if Flying Pikachu rotates or not. Anyone know? I'm leaning towards it doesn't, but it certainly could. When did Celebrations come out? I don't know. Let me double check. It doesn't rotate? Okay, good. So if it doesn't rotate, I don't see any reason why you'd ever play this card over that. Like this just seems way too slow. So definitely this goes in the bulk out of 5, 1 out of 5. Not having it. The boy Lechonk. Let's give him a gander. What a cute piggy. Repulsive Stench. It's an escape route on an attack. That's kind of cool. And then it evolves into Oinkalone EX. I think a lot of these cards are mid because we still have V Pokemon. If V's rotated, this some of these would be insane. Yeah. So I'm trying to like I'm trying to give it perspective with like, okay, this card's probably good, not this upcoming rotation, but like the rotation after that kind of thing. Um but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. So overall this is kind of in line with what base sets are typically though, which is just kind of introducing mechanics. But we have Oink Cologne with the Fragrance Fury attack, 10 plus 30 for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Doesn't seem actually too bad. Yeah, when we get to Fury X, it'll be very different. Exactly, Doors. That's what I'm saying. So this doesn't seem terrible. 260 is not incredible for a stage 1 if we compare to like V stars, but yeah, I think this card's in general probably a little too vanilla to see play. But I mean, interesting concept. And then okay, so this is the first set of item cards we're getting. We're getting Palpad again, which is sick. Cards nuts, Nest Ball. Had it in the past, easily 5 out of 5. Helps the consistency. Rock Chestplate. The fighting this card is attached to, or fighting Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less. I mean, could see play. If it would go in that like basic aggressive fighting type deck that I was kind of theorizing earlier. With Rock Chestplate, so yeah, I mean, seems okay. If we do get any fighting types that are better in the future, this could realistically see a lot of play. Just because the tools in general are getting kind of nerfed, and so the like stronger Eviolite seems good. So I'd definitely say this is solid right in the middle, like 3 out of 5, but super good. In terms of like relative tool strength. Let's see. So we have EXP share, EXP share rotate, so or reprint, so a direct buff to Rotom V Star. So honestly, it gets a 5 out of 5 in my book. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, EXP share broken card. Um, Defiant Band. If yeah, be hyped for Rotom V Star. We're gonna jam a lot of that later this week. Defiant Band. If you have more prizes than your opponent, your attacks do 30 more. So I think what they could have done with card design philosophy in general is made this card have like a baseline in terms of general usage. So like if it was if it read more like your Pokemon's card or the Pokemon this is attached to does 10 more to your opponent's active, but if you're behind in prize cards, it does 30 more. I think that would make this card a lot like more it would have like a lot more incentive to play. But I mean, we are gonna be kind of we are losing a lot of damage modification just because the choice belt that is currently in play or currently legal is only doing 32 or 30 more to Pokemon V, and so as EXs become more prevalent in the meta, that card is going to get worse. That being said, I can't necessarily see a huge reason to play this unless you're specifically playing a deck that wants to go behind in prize cards. So like something like Urshifu could maybe get use out of this, but I don't know. I'm not super convinced. It seems pretty mid. But yeah, if they, I'd say it's probably in between a 2 and a 3. Maybe sees play if there's like a counter box deck that comes out. Um, let's see. Next we have Jock. Supporter, search your deck for 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So this card, I mean, the one thing I could see that you could maybe justify is, since we are losing evolution incense, is kind of splashing this into Lugia. If you're deciding to play Lugia again, you can grab like an Archeops and a Lugia V-Star kind of thing. It's like strictly worse than Burnett in terms of Burnett has it go straight to the discard pile for the Archeops, but being able to kind of search out Lugia and grab an Archeops seems not terrible. So I mean, if we don't get any more ball search, we might be playing this guy for a little bit. But seems kind of lackluster in general. I'd say. Um, I'd say yeah, not super great. Let's see. Wondering if Lugia will even see play in base set. Yeah. So my, I guess, general predictions for Lugia moving forward is kind of a general shift to potentially something like a single strike version of Lugia. Like we're losing a lot of the inherent uh, busted uh, special energy, but we do keep things like single strike energy. So you could play like the Gengar or the Urshifu, that kind of thing. So uh, I'd say maybe not completely dead, but it might be. If Lugia survives rotation, I'm not entirely sold it will, but if it does, this might find its way into that list. Uh, but as it stands, probably like a 2 out of 5. Um, all right, Team Star Grunt. Put an energy attached to your opponent's active on top of their deck. So this is like just a strictly worse like Team Flare Grunt, I'd say. Team Flare Grunt was okay. Does Stoutland V rotate? No, I believe it is Brilliant Stars, if memory serves. Let me double check on that. Or no, it's Battle Styles, so it stays in. But we do lose powerful energy, so Stoutland V loses all the like bonus like damage modification, which made it good. Yeah, Team Stargrunt, general disruption card, but seems in general just like a worse version of Flare Grunt, which seems bad. So I'd say this is probably a 1 out of 5. Just super, super meh, because your opponent can just reattach the following turn. Like it sets them back a turn, but realistically, like you're using your supporter on that, and that's not setting up your board. The bad thing about Lugia is that attackers it has right now are so good that you have to use them and not other stuff. Yeah, so I think there's room for creativity, and my guess is that we'll see some kind of like single strike variant of Lugia kind of come out of the woodwork. Because you can not only play single strike energy, but you can also play Earn of Vitality to recover that special energy, which is super good. Um, Professor's research is Professor's research. Don't really have to say anything about that. Really good card. If you're new to the Pokemon TCG, this card's super integral in all Pokemon decks. Just a really good staple card. Penny, supporter, return 1 of your basic Pokemon in play, and all cards attached to it to your hand. So I mean, it only bounces basics, but the whole idea of bouncing Pokemon and healing is crazy good. So I mean, the decks it fits into, it probably abuses really well. Not sure entirely what it can fit into necessarily, but yeah, you do pick up things like Luminion. So this card seems super good for just setting up cool board states. You can even do things cheeky like if you have a lone like wall Pokemon in play and you pick up your last bench Pokemon, you can just kind of lock your opponent out of the game. So I can definitely see a world where this card seems or sees at least at a bare minimum niche play, but I think more than that, just bouncing Pokemon and healing seems really good. And Charon's Care saw play, even though it was only for specifically colorless Pokemon. So I think it's kind of in the same vein. So I think this is kind of in between like a 3 to a 4 out of 5 for like raw power level. Because you can splash it into a lot of stuff. And resetting cards is pretty good. And if we get some kind of abusable thing like a Crobat V going forward, this card just becomes even that much better. And then last card of Scarlet EX, we have Beach Court. The retreat cost of each basic is 1 colorless less. So this card is probably going to be the I guess, the standard stadium card going forward for Lugia decks. Or not Lugia, I'm sorry, Lost Box decks. And kind of the ability to go through multiple Comfies and get those free retreats makes it super good. Nope. What do you mean nope? Yeah. Being able to pivot between Comfies is insane, but if you guys need help with the Pokemon community game, there's actually like the console thing down below in the about section too. I need to add the commands, but in general the kind of main like hub for that where it shows you all your Pokemon is going to be down in that about section. But yeah, this card seems good. We had Sky Arrow in the past, and Sky Arrow was just really cracked in general. So I could definitely see a world where those decks just play that kind of thing. And then let's see. Out of 5, I'd say it's probably in between a 3 and a 4. But we are losing Air Balloon, so we're gonna need ways to retreat outside of Switch. So do keep this card in mind. All right. So I guess there could be a world. I'm just not super optimistic that getting a stage 2 out to wall like that is gonna end up being worth it until maybe the Flying Pikachu rotates. Okay. So let's see. Moving forward, we have Pineco missing a Fortress. I'm assuming we'll see Fortress later on. So we'll just kind of glaze over that guy for now. Heracross, Strength Throw, 10 plus 30 more for each energy in your opponent's retreat cost. So even if you're hitting the Donzo, you're hitting it for 130 for 2 energy. So this card is really bad. Definitely 1 out of 5. Like, even best case scenario, you're not hitting enough to KO the thing with the big retreat. So why would you ever play this card? Scatterbug, Adaptive Evolution, so it can evolve on your first turn. They're always doing Heracross dirty, absolutely. I can't remember the last time we've had a good Heracross card. They can't even make bugs good. Yeah. Well, this seems kind of interesting. The Scatterbug being able to evolve. You can just keep evolving it. It evolves finally into the Pavilion. So you can theoretically get this guy out turn 1. Does 50, and then if heads, you can pick which special condition you can deal to it. So that seems, I mean, cute, but realistically, you're hitting like 50 to probably paralyze, and the HP on this is really low, is my main concern. So even though you're getting this guy out turn 1 potentially and hitting for 50 plus a plus a status condition of your choice, it's not probably going to see play just because it's too for what you get out of getting this out turn 1, it's not worth it. Because it's just like you could be doing other stuff even with a slower deck and getting greater payout across multiple turns. So I think this is probably a 1 out of 5, even though it's cool. That being said, if we do have old Pavilions, you could maybe see these guys hop into a GLC deck. So I definitely go back and look at your Sun and Moon bulk, and if you have any Pavilions, definitely see if any of them are worth the inclusion in that kind of archetype. Then we have Tarantula. Is it Taruntula? Like Taruntula? I don't know. I might be butchering that. It might be like Tarantula. I'm not entirely sure, but it evolves into Spidops EX, which has the ability trap territory. So your opponent's Pokemon retreat cost is like round, like Tarantula. Okay, that would make sense because it is a round boy. Yeah, so I agree with that. But the ability makes your opponent's Pokemon's retreat cost 1 more. So that seems okay, just because it's like a in general like passive ability. Just to kind of be annoying. So you could even do stuff like splash this against like Lost Box just to ruin their day and make their Comfies have like 2 retreat and ruin it like that. But I know Mystic in the chat here also said you could kind of jam this into your Toxicroak deck, make your opponent like disincentivized to retreat and keep that poison active. So I could definitely see that also coming into play. Being able to, I guess, deter your opponent from retreating to keep that poison and also just be annoying. It definitely seems like not the worst in the world. Let's see, the attack does 90 and 30 more for the retreat, so there's some synergy in that as well. So this is just like stronger Heracross on a stage 1. It seems it has an inherent synergy with itself, so I don't think it's the worst by any means. But the damage does seem a little low. So I'm not seeing a world where you're playing straight Spidops, just because comparatively to other decks, like your damage just seems low. But you could play this guy in combination with Leafeon V Max with the first attack that also scales off of your opponent's retreat cost. Let's see how much damage that does again. So that's 60 times the amount of retreat. So I think if you're playing this in anything, it's probably going to be that deck, just because Evolving Skies does not rotate. And I believe this guy doesn't stack, if I had to guess. Yeah, so I don't think this guy stacks, but tacking more energy, tacking more damage onto Leafeon VMAX seems good. Unfortunately, we are losing Gallermine, so we're losing synergy with that, but overall, I'd say this card is definitely not bad. I'd say it's definitely like middle of the road, and I'd give it like a fair assessment of like a 3 out of 5. Because you can just do a lot of random stuff, and the ability doesn't seem like it's the worst. Yeah, stack this. If this stacked, it'd be pretty nuts actually. But thankfully, I do not believe that is the case. And then we have Toad School. What a cool guy. Wow, he's got the kicks. Definitely the cool kid at school. And then he evolves into Toad's Cruel. So for 1 grass, Ominous Tentacles, 30 damage. You can choose 1 energy attached and move it to one of their benched. So an effect like this saw play in the past with a Psychic type Pokemon. I don't remember what it was though. It was not super competitive. But you could maybe consider playing this in some kind of weird control kind of thing. That being said, I think this is probably a bulk card. And I think it's realistically like a 1 out of 5. Just too little, to gain from the attack. Seems kind of lackluster. Next we have Capsicid. I love the kind of flavor of this with peppers. This Pokemon is super cool. I would say Firegrass. It evolves into Scovillian. Hot Bite, 20 damage. Your opponent's active is now burned. And Super Hot Yeehaw. I really hope that's the actual name for the attack. Super Hot Yeehaw. That's what I'm telling you. If this Pokemon has any fire attached, it does 180 for 3. So this card gets a 5 on the attack name category, but in terms of realistic playability, it's too low, and I would give it a 1. Just because it seems too hard to fulfill that fire, because I believe Magma Basin only yeah, I believe Magma Basin only goes to fire types. But maybe you could play it with the like Shark Cadet or whatever that like fire guy was we saw earlier. But yeah, Spectra says give it a 2 out of 5 for that attack name though. Yeah, that's what. All right, chat. We're bumping it from bulk status to bulk status, but it has a cool name, so it gets a 2 out of 5. Yeah. They ran out of names on that one. Super Hot Yeehaw. Okay, wait. I'm pretty sure that's like low key what it actually means though, because the katakana here is actually like hee haw. So like that's like actually what they named it, which is hilarious. Okay, moving on. We have Growlithe. Search your deck for up to 2 basics and attach it to this, or 2 basic fire and attach it to this Pokemon. So that's really good. Oh. I'm allergic to it. Has converted their Prime Gaming to Tier 1. Oh, sweet. Well, thank you so much. I'm not sure how that works, but cool. Thank you so much for that. But Growlithe, it accelerates onto itself, which is good, especially because it evolves into an EX. So Arcanine EX, Terastal, same as the Gyarados. It doesn't take any damage from attacks while sitting on the bench. So that's a nice benefit. And then for 2 fire, you're doing 30 plus 10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So it is a stage 1. It does have 280. So yeah, definitely about that. Just because if it does get punched, you are, I guess, if it does get punched and you survive, you are going to be hitting back, so that's cool. And then 3 fire, you're hitting 250, discard 2 fire, which seems kind of mid. Let's see, you figured that you'd be sub for a bit, so just sent full sent to regular sub. Yeah, fair enough. That way, you don't have to deal with it every month. It just kind of does it for you. Fair enough. But Arcanine, I'd say, while it's definitely probably better than the Gyarados, I'd say it's still mid in overall, just being a little too vanilla. It is a base set after all, so I'm not super surprised that we're seeing stuff like this. That being said, I think this probably falls in somewhere within the range of like 3 out of 5, just because it has a lot of HP and it has like actually in the scope of the meta, it probably jumps down to a 2 out of 5, just because post rotation I realistically see Palkia V-Star being super good. Mystic, did I miss you go over Spite Ops? You did. We rated it a 3 out of 5. It will be in the VOD review though, if you hop back. But on top of it being strong with the Toxicroak and kind of deterring Lost Box, I said it would probably fit best in something like a Leafeon VMAX deck as a bench sitter, but definitely go ahead and give that VOD a watch when you get a chance. I might consider uploading this to YouTube too. I haven't uploaded anything to YouTube, but this seems like the type of general content that I want to be putting on my channel over there too. So we will probably be doing that as well. But yeah, I think Arcanine, in a vacuum, probably a 3 out of 5, but in the context of the current meta and what I see going forward with post rotation, probably jumps down to a 2 out of 5. Just because Raging Claw only gets benefit if it doesn't get one shot. Houndour evolves into Houndoom, which is just a bulk card, 1 out of 5, too slow, not enough damage. Then we have Slowpoke. Let's see, 1 colorless, rest. This Pokemon is now asleep, heal 30 damage from it. It evolves into Slowbro, which has an ability. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a damage counter from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So it's kind of similar to the Gengar in that you're putting all the damage onto that guy, and then you can do things like heal to it. The thing about this guy is Slowbro only has 100 HP, which makes it slightly worse than Gengar in terms of the overall benefit you can get out of resetting it. And but that's kind of balanced by the fact that it is on a stage 1 and not a stage 2. That being said, we are losing Scoop Up Net, and so the kind of idea of putting this in the Mewtwo V Union deck that kind of sapped the damage counters off of the Mewtwo V Union seems just lackluster, just because we don't have the way to reset it anymore. But it could, I guess, theoretically be used to turn 2 shots into 3 shots, which seems good, especially because it is on a stage 1. Let's see. The real power of Slowbro is heal 100, then Roxanne early. You mean heal 90? Well, so Mystic, Spectra means you put all 10 onto it and knock itself out, and in combination with like having a EX or V Pokemon getting knocked out on your side, it allows you to go for like an early Roxanne play, because it sets them down to the that like 3 prize range. So it's kind of cool, actually. So that seems like another neat application for sure. Ooh, I never liked that. Oh, fair enough. I personally think that could be good, because I've been tinkering around with Electrode in my Rotom deck, and being able to like give up your 1 prizer and then just playing only 2 prizers in the rest of your deck means that you never get the downside of going down a prize. And so it could fit into something niche like that. But that being said, I'm not entirely sure where it sees play outside of you could maybe do stuff like play Cheryl with it, and like move the good energy, or move the damage counters off the things with energy so that you can Cheryl. So you could do cute stuff like that. So definitely, I guess, could be cool, but especially if you get a few of these guys going. So I'd say it's probably like a 3 out of 5. Unless they Skystone and you win that turn and lose anyway, but that would be funny. Yeah, that's just unlucky. Just unlucky for sure. But yeah, Slowbro definitely mid, but has potential, because you can grab multiple of these in play and play Cheryl. So we might see some kind of crazy deck come out that plays both of those. Moving on, we have Clauncher, Klotzer, Bulk, nothing too slow, too high of energy costs kind of thing. And the negative of hitting 160 means, and not being able to attack the following turn is just really bad. And then we have the new whale, Citadel. This guy's so cute. It evolves into Cititan, which has the Confront, 2 colorless, 50 damage. And then, like Wailord, we got Water colorless, Sweeping Tackle, 200 minus. It does, it's reduced by 20 for each damage counter on this guy. So maybe some like GLC play or something like that. But outside of that, this card seems really slow and pretty bulky, just because the damage output gets gimped as soon as it gets hit. But imagine combining Cititan with Slowbro so it always hits 200. That is true, but how realistically, even if that is the case, how are we getting the water energy on there? And are we okay with having this out there when if you go like water DT, are we okay with doing all this setup just to have the 180 damage output when your opponent can just find a way to do 180 damage and ruin that whole strategy. I'm not sold. Melanie helps with water energy. I mean, that's true, but Melanie actually only works on Pokemon V. So you can't actually use it on Titan. So you'll have to do manual attach and then manual attach, or play Palkia V-Star. But that just seems like a little too much in terms of space. Yep. Gotta read these cards to check if it's always V. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Melanie, it can go to any V Pokemon, but so it's not limited to water Pokemon, but it can't go to things outside of V Pokemon. Otherwise, Radiant Greninja would be absolutely insane. Yeah. Moving forward, this is probably one of my favorite cards out of the new set. Let's see, or if Raihan if it's a single prize deck. Yeah, that's true. I think it's a little bit of wishful thinking to think it doesn't get one shot. Very appropriate that we are having Titan Pokemon battle music though. Or Titan, but anyway, moving on, we got everything leading up to Magnezone EX. So Magnezone EX is a stage 2 EX Pokemon, a massive 330 HP for 1 lightning energy. It does 50 times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Oh, hello Bluefish. You redeemed a form change. Which Rotom form would you like to swap to? Also, welcome. Fridge. All right, Fridge it is. We're Fridge now. The boy, the lad. All right. So yeah, big Rotom hypes. Big Rotom hypes. By the way, is it time for Judge Gamers? Big lad, best lad. Absolutely. Judge Gamers. What do you mean by Judge Gamers? We might, if I have time after the set review, we might play stuff with Judge in it. Like I might play Mew, but Marnie is rotating, yeah. Oh, yo, Rice's, thank you so much for the Prime sub. You put us at two subs away from the emote. Almost there. So Judge will be the one, yes, though I have heard rumors through the grapevine that we will be getting a Marnie replacement. Some other like hand disrupty card that'll be coming, if not, or since we have the leaks for this set, probably the set after this. I've heard, don't ask, don't tell, but we're definitely getting something outside of Judge. I don't think it'll be as toxic as Marnie though, so we'll really have to see what they come up with. That being said, Magnezone EX, on top of doing 50 times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon, you also do for just 2 lightning, 220, and it does 30 to itself. But this guy is an absolute titan. To guard my loaded decks? Oh no. Say no more. Gotta protect those hands. You're hyped for Guardy? Fair enough, Bluefish. Yeah, Guardy is definitely one of the front runners of this set, and so far was like one of like either 1 or 2 cards that got a 5 out of 5 for me in terms of just being an absolutely insane card. That being said, I think this card is extremely cracked, You played Diola Ho-Oh today? Oh, with the Thornton? That's super fun, Bluefish. I think I saw Andrew Mahone playing that. So the question is, do you even play a Magneton or just Rare Candy? Realistically, you probably play 4-1-4, if I had to guess. In terms of how to build it. Yeah, Quad Diancie. Oh my god. The Quad Diancie. But yeah, this card, absolutely insane. Not only do you get to directly target things like the Gardevoir EX, which strive to put as many energy in play as possible, but you have option to just play this guy with like Cheryl and being able to hit like 150 on something and then Cheryl heal your guy and reattach one lightning energy and hit. Like, this guy is just absolutely insane. Zone is a huge lad. 330 HP, only gives up 2 prizes. So yeah, I'm biased, like, yeah, so you're getting a ton of electric support in general in this set, but this guy is just a huge tank, and he trades so efficiently for like no energy. So I'm rating this guy. I'm rating this guy a 5 out of 5 as well. Like, there's just way too much. It's just way too efficient for what it does. Like, the one downside I could see is the 3 retreat, but being able to like just sit there and just have this thing trade an attack, heal itself to full, easily attach again, accelerate again. This card's nuts. Yeah, you get Flaffy, you get the new like Max Elixir thing. It's so efficient. Like, I don't know why more people aren't talking about this card. But yeah, this card, absolutely insane. All right, jumping down. Pachirisu, Electric Pouches. This Pokemon can't be paralyzed. And it does, for Lightning Colorless, 10 plus 20 for each of your bench Lightning Pokemon. Definitely wins in the art department. I love the art design on this guy, but in terms of actually being playable, I'm not seeing it. So I think this guy gets a swift 1 out of 5. It would have been a 2 out of 5 if the retreat cost was 2. But yeah. That's about that. Okay, moving forward, we have Rotom, Self-Portrait. Not only does it get Junk Hunt, so Sableye coming back, but also, yeah, this card's just a 5 out of 5. What can I say? All right, that's all we really got to say about this chat. All right, moving on. Best card in the set, obviously. Okay, Toxel evolves into the Toxtricity, which has the attack for 2 colorless. Rotom equals auto 5 out of 5. Absolutely. Yeah, so this double colorless tear off. Choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand without looking. Then your opponent shuffles them into your deck. So this card, the fact that there's no flip on it means this card is just a toxic. It's literally toxic. It's Toxtricity, but this card is like, in combination with Roxanne, you can just put your opponent down to a 0 card hand. But yeah, this card is definitely gonna be abused by somebody. And I'm all for it, honestly. I used to play back when Heart Gold Soul Silver came out. Triumphant, there was a Sharpedo that you flipped 2 coins if heads. If both of them were heads, your opponent discarded their entire hand, and that was it. I played that card, absolutely abused some players back then and just ruin their days. So I think if at the very least I'm gonna find some way just to play this and mess with people. But I'd say in terms of overall playability, it lies somewhere between a 2 and a 3. If there's some abusive way to play this in like a control list, where you just late game like rip their hand down to 0, and then you're able to control their top decks, this card goes up. But until I see more cards like that, we're just gonna leave it at like a 2 out of 5. And then we got the cute like Pikachu looking thing out of this generation, Pawmi, which evolves into Pawmo, and then finally Pawmit. Has the ability Charge Up. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a basic lightning energy card and attach it to this Pokemon, and then shuffle your deck. So it has some self-acceleration. That seems okay. But then kind of with the self-acceleration, you're hitting 230. And then you discard all energy attached. And then it has only 130 HP. Let's see, not gonna lie, you're a Palmet believer. Interesting. I'm not entirely sold personally so far. I could be convinced though. This guy hitting 230 is a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong. But this thing does only have 130 HP. So I'm not super convinced in terms of like the raw strength being enough to kind of balance the fact that it's a stage 2 and that it has 130 HP. Which like, I mean, if like I'm thinking about it and I'm like, if Cramorant wasn't a card, like yeah, this is one of the ones where it's like maybe not this rotation, maybe the following rotation, who knows? Like 230 is not a small number on a one prizer. So I'd say currently and even with post rotation, it's gonna be a little too slow. But if things slow down, who knows? It might be worth it, just because it does have its own acceleration onto itself in tandem with the other acceleration and manual attach. So it is cool that this guy also gets free retreat, but I say in terms of current playability, it sits at a solid I'd say a solid 2. But Mystic, you're a Palmet believer. I'm not sure I'm necessarily with you, but maybe in the future, who knows? Only time will tell for sure. And then Miraidon EX, one of my other definitely gonna run it with the Lightning Elixir. Yeah, absolutely. Miraidon EX, tandem unit. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for 2 basic Lightning Pokemon and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. So this card is absolutely insane too, and you can play it with the penny card to reset it and even take it out of play. But being able to grab not only like Mareeps and Magnemites, but Rotom V. You can grab 2 Rotom V. Insane card. Honestly, insane. Consistency for lightning stuff is going through the roof. And I for one am a firm believer. Everything comes back to Rotom V. Absolutely. They're just buffing the deck through the roof. Rotom V stonks, especially on the rise, through the moon, or to the moon. Yeah, start investing in your Rotom V NFTs. The stonks are going up. Double down. And they're changing tool cards, like it's over. Yeah, this card's nuts. You could even play it by itself and it's insane. Cuz this card also just hits for 220 for 3 energy, but it seems like a high energy cost until you realize that you have that max elixir card that just allows you to accelerate 2 lightning Pokemon for like free. So yeah, this card I'd say is also a 5 out of 5 in terms of it's consistent, it does what it does, and I think it does what it does really well. It also only has 1 retreat cost, which makes it better than the Koraidon in terms of just being an efficient Pokemon, basic Pokemon EX. Jumping ahead, we have Drowsy. Force Asleep. Your opponent chooses one of their bench Pokemon and switches it with their active. That active is now asleep. It evolves into the Drowsy. With the Pendulum Manipulation, flip a coin. If heads, choose one of your opponent's active and use it as this attack. So we have a metronome style effect coming back. Let's see. Hello, RotomTCG. How are you tonight? I'm doing quite well, CJ. Thank you so much for hopping into the stream. We are just going over all the new cards, and I am having a blast looking at all these cool arts and new effects. I'm getting so excited for Scarlet and Violet when it comes out in late March. I'm all in. That being said, this Hypno metronome traditionally hasn't been super solid. It just, for what it's worth, doesn't having to rely on other people's attacks isn't something I personally like to subscribe to. But other than that, yeah, I'm not a super huge fan of this card. I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5. Let's see, chat. One side effect of lightning prevalence I'm looking forward to is that fighting will be better. Tough to play Urshifu right now with the psychic weakness and Lugia resistance. That is true. Urshifu stonks also going up. Can't hurt you there. However, Urshifu will be I guess going down in stonks because of this upcoming card. We'll go over it in just a second. And then Clam, so many tournaments until then though. Absolutely. We're living in Lugia's world until then, but at least hopefully Crown Zenith will shake things up. I'm personally looking forward to Orlando regionals. And it should, Orlando regionals seems like it's going to be a really fun tournament. So hopefully that kind of fills the gap. And then yeah, we have Shuppet. For 1 psychic, wrapped in shadows, 10 damage. Flip a coin of heads. The opponent can't play items from their hand during their next turn. So they stuck item lock on a basic Shuppet, which is insane. Sky is the limit for Orlando. Absolutely, Clem. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We're fiending for that. Yeah, I'm super excited for that card. Bennett, though. So on top of the item lock Shuppet, which you can high roll and just trainer lock, or like item lock them, you evolve into the Bennett, which for 30 damage guarantees the item lock. And then you also combine it with the Poltergeist, which you get to look at their hand and do 60 for each trainer. And so on top of kind of locking your opponent out of items when you want to kind of transition and do a ton of damage into a Poltergeist, because your opponent can't play the item cards, you just get to whenever you want. Just attach another energy, look at their hand, and hit for a ton of damage. So, unfortunately, Urshifu is gonna be sad when it hits these cards, but this card inherently super strong because item lock has always been super strong, and with everything slowing down, I can see a world where this guy just slows the format down, keeps everything in check, keeps Lost Box and Mew from just absolutely running the tables. So yeah, I'm a believer. I really like this card. I think Rotom Stonks stabilized. Actually, no. You know why? Because Rotom, the tools are not considered items anymore. So you can actually play tools through this card. So Rotom Stonks through the roof. Yeah, Rotom V-Star, correct. How would you discard them? Well, my dear friend, we do have a stadium card in the format currently that actually, on top of the tool change, reverts back, and we get Pokestop. Actually has the effect of not keeping tools in your hand anymore, and so when you Pokestop, on top of discarding Pokemon and everything but item cards, that includes tools now. So you can actually, every single turn, on top of Berserker and on top of Articuno and Ultra Balls, even if you're under item lock, you can play things like the Pokestop. Rotom Stonks through the roof. We're on that train, ride or die. But yeah, in terms of actual playability, I think this Banette sits at a 4 overall. Super good. But we'll have to see if the stage 1 aspect of it is enough to kind of deter people to play it. Pokestop away your supporters. True, that can happen, but more often than not, like you can play more fodder, and you can just Pokestop away. You can be a believer and Pokestop away your tools. Pokestop away energies. I mean, this is true. This is all true, but you're gonna be playing a lot of energies. I'm picturing a world where yeah, I'm picturing a world where you're playing ways to shuffle in the energy, and you're playing the max elixir stuff. You're playing a lot of energy to hit the max elixir. Yeah, I think there's something there, but we'll build it. We'll build it when the time comes. But yeah, Bennett, 4 out of 5. Flabebe, Pollen Ball evolves into Floette, which evolves into Florges. As long as it's in play, your Pokemon have no weakness. Yeah, Rotom V-Star power also. Yep, big stonks, big stonks. So Bloom Garden, as long as this Pokemon is in play, your Pokemon have no weakness, so that's kind of cool. Yep, you got it, Mystic. You got the tools. So I think you just play this for the weakness thing. Jirachi. So CJ and I were messing around with Jirachi. Jirachi's not too bad. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it's good, but also you have options. You got EXP share too, but I think probably Flaffy gets better. Anyway, in terms of Florges, I'd say this card, you'd have to play something that really doesn't like the weakness on it. But this is cool that it exists. So I think in terms of playability, it's probably a 2 out of 5. Not complete bulk, but not super worth it. and unless there's some super inherent weakness and you want to play something like a tanky deck that wants to avoid just getting one shot by something popular that is like a common weakness. So I'd keep in mind that this card exists, but it is on a stage 2, so there's that. All right, next, another huge front runner of the set, I'd say. We have Klefki. Ability Prank Lock. As long as this Pokemon is your active, each player's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities other than Prank Lock. So it stops Genesect V, and it stops Comfy. I'm not sure how this works if your opponent has a Empoleon in the active. I'd really have to read Empoleon V. But this card in general, yeah, I couldn't tell you, Bluefish, what's going on with that, but because let's see, Empoleon reads, as long as this is in your active, your opponent's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. So I'm assuming actually that because it reads like that, that Klefki I have no idea, actually. I have no idea how that works. Klefki has to be active too, so you'd think first active takes precedence. I mean, maybe? Unless you both start with it, then what happens? I don't know. So harass your local judges on Twitter about it. Or ask Jake Gearhart, one of the two. Yeah, definitely result to a good old fashioned fist fight. Clearly Pokemon and their abilities are just, I don't know what's going on with that, but assuming Empoleon V doesn't just break this card is like super good for just shutting down your opponent's strategies early on. So I'd say in terms of that, you definitely jump this guy to, yeah, next Wheezing, not like this. Yeah, this guy is absolutely nuts. Being able to stall and get your strategies going just by shutting off basic abilities is crazy. So I think this guy is probably another 5 out of 5 if I had to guess. Super splashable. You can play it in just about anything. So I'm a Klefki believer, and yeah, definitely 5 out of 5. Shuts down a lot of strategies like Lost Box, like Luminion. This card is toxic. Toxic Parakeys. Jumping over to Greavard. Graveyard Frolic. Oh, I didn't even read the attack. You can just discard a tool. Oh, it has to be active though. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it does shut off your own, but I think that's okay in certain decks where you're playing. Like I could see Curly. I could see the Gardevoir deck realistically playing that, because Gardevoir can just rely on the refinement Curlias to kind of set up. But yeah, I think even though it shuts down kind of your own strategy, it slows the game down enough where you can kind of get these slower strategies going, which is super cool. But yeah, boss out the Force Seal Stone. I mean, yeah, I guess you could technically do that, but I know personally I'm not attaching my Force Seal Stone when I see my opponent start Klefki. But yeah, jumping onto Greavard, we got the Ghost Doggo. These are actually pretty different. So this one does 10 damage for each psychic Pokemon in your discard pile for 1, which seems kind of hilarious, but I think the damage might be a little too low. It's still a really cool attack though, and it's on a basic, so definitely keep this card in mind. Because we have like it's just like a basic Wormadam for 1 energy, so that's cool. And then we have the other Greavard. Well, jumping back to this Greavard, maybe we play this in like Gardevoir as just like a end of the game 1 prizer out of nowhere kind of thing. So just keep that one in mind. But yeah, jumping to this Greavard, Underworld Stroll for 2 colorless energy. Look at your opponent's hand, choose a supporter, and then return it to the bottom of their deck. And then another 30 damage attack for 3. So this just seems like another random toxic card. But both of these seem like random niche cards that I would say like just hit like 2 out of 5. But let's see what they evolve into. The Houndstone, Grave Visit, 2 psychic energy, 80 damage, and it does 10 for each psychic Pokemon in your discard pile. So this card, much like the Greavard and kind of Vespiquen and like Wormadam, that kind of thing, I think this card actually, even though it's kind of vanilla in terms of like what it looks like, could actually realistically see a decent amount of play, assuming you're able to easily fulfill the psychic requirement, because dealing 80 plus 10 is actually quite a lot of damage. That the Pokemon requirement, it adds up quickly. Vespiquen used to see a lot of play, hitting numbers throughout the game, and that was just 30 plus if memory serves, for each Pokemon in your bin. So I definitely wouldn't forget about this card. I think this is in between a 2 and a 3, so definitely I'd say 2.5 out of 5. Great in GLC too. Yeah. I don't play a ton of GLC, but that would make a lot of sense. Absolutely, Rye. I could see that as well. Yeah. I'm leaning at 2.5, but it might be a 3. And I could also just be completely wrong and this card's broken, but we'll have to see. That's just my initial thought though. And then we have Mankey evolving into Primeape. For 1 fighting, does 70 and 20 to itself. Oh, and then we actually have, I forgot, Primeape actually evolves into Annihilape in this generation, which has Enraged Fists. It does 70 for each prize card taken by your opponent. So a really big revenge attacker, kind of efficient in damage. Being able to hit a lot of energy, or hit for a lot of damage for not a lot of energy. So it says it's a stage 1, but this is actually a stage 2. But it does hit for a lot. So this to me screams not good initially, but maybe good in like the following year's rotation. If they rotate E block out and we lose the V maxes and we just have like V star on kind of thing. But pretty efficient and just a lot of damage. So I'd say currently it's at a 1. It might jump to like a 2, just because stage 2s are traditionally a little slow. Let's see, Spirit Tomb, traditionally a broken card, but this guy, you can choose one of your opponent's benched Pokemon and switch it with their active. So that's not too terrible. You can actually play that in tandem with the Ditto from Pokemon Go. Since we are losing the Jinx that does that kind of effect, where it kind of gusts out a thing. If the Ditto control stays a random deck, you could realistically jam this guy in there. And you also get the Destruction Verdict 10 out of 10 name. Flip 2 coins. If both heads, they are knocked out. So we get like a Radiant Jirachi style Doom Desire, or like super high rolly just knockout effect. So this card definitely seems super cute. Will it see play outside of the Ditto thing? I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think having to commit 2 energy to that are not colorless to this, and just directly comparing it to Radiant Jirachi, like I just don't see it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting card, and I like that Pokemon is, even with some of these like bulky style cards, at least making it have like a niche where it could randomly see play in the future. Who really knows? But I would say this card probably, as it stands, is probably either a 1 or a 2, somewhere in that range, out of 5. So I'm not super sold. And then moving on, we got Maschiff. It evolves into this. Okay, this is the same. So 2 different Maschiffs, and they evolve into Mabostiff, which has the ability Enraged Howling. Once during your turn, you may have your opponent switch their active with one of their benched Pokemon. We are not getting a Parasol replacement. No, we are not. Though there are other ways to stop that, I believe. Effects of attacks. They're definitely putting effort into random bulk cards in this set. Not a lot of rams or surprise attacks this set. Yeah, very true, Clam. I'm very happy with the direction they're taking. At least it feels more like what Magic has done in the past, where every card seems like, well, almost every card seems like you could at least read it and not be like, wow, this is just insta bulk. Like, at least you have to read it and be like, okay, will I ever play this ever? And there is a chance with some of these cards, which is really cool. But anyway, Mabostiff, once during your turn, you may have your opponent switch their active with one of their bench. So you get like a stage 1 escape rope once per turn. I think that's in general pretty lackluster. It's cool, but we just have so many other gusting options available. We have Boss, Cross Switcher doesn't rotate, and I believe Pokemon Catcher is also staying. And I personally like the second part of Escape Rope, where you get to switch your own Pokemon. So I think this card, while annoying, is probably not super useful unless you're playing something to kind of affect retreat costs, so like Spide Ops or something like that. But I don't think this is going to see play. It's cool, but overall a little lackluster, and I'd give this a 1 out of 5. And the attack is also nothing to write home about. Really inefficient. Bombardier, basic Pokemon for 1 colorless. Junk Transport. Search your deck for 3 Pokemon tool cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then for a dark colorless clutch, 60 damage. Your opponent can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. So this card, if it were to ever see any play, would maybe be in the Rotom deck, but even the Rotom deck has no super huge reason to play this, just because you get to instant charge turn 1 and draw 3 cards, and drawing 3 cards is better than committing an energy onto this and just grabbing 3 tools. So I'd say this guy falls in the bulk category, but like I said, not a surprise tech Pokemon. It's cool that they are printing stuff like this. It's just it's cool bulk. So 1 out of 5. So we finally hit the fortress. We saw the Pineco at the very start of this set. For 1 metal, has the continuous spin attack. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 50 times the number of heads. So this is tier meme. Let's see. On top of that, you have metal colorless 90, and you reduce damage by 50 the following turn. So yeah, this falls in the tier meme category. Definitely farm those YouTube videos and likes for the one chance you get to hit the like 10 heads or whatever. So definitely tier meme there. Hold on, let me change the music. Let's see. We will do that, and then we'll hop over here. Yeah, I don't know anyone that will play this outside of YouTubers, but it's a funny card. But yeah, funny bulk, 1 out of 5. Iron Treads EX. We have another EX. It's a basic metal Pokemon. For 3 colorless energy, triple laser. This attack does 30 to 3 different of your opponent's Pokemon. And then for metal colorless, a cybernetic wheel does 160, and then you switch with one of your bench Pokemon. Triple laser, I believe, was last seen on Registeel EX back in Dragons Exalted, and back then it had the exact same requirement and the exact same damage output of 30 to 3 different Pokemon, and it never saw any play. And now we have Pokemon that have way more HP and are way more efficient at trading, so I don't see how this ever sees any realistic play. And the, I guess, cybernetic wheel hitting 160, the cool thing you could potentially do with that would be pivot into things like Klefki and shut off your opponent's basic abilities, but the energy requirement is pretty ridiculous. I'm not sure. I believe Bronzong stays, but we do lose, not only do we lose Zacian, but we also lose Metal Saucer. And with that, we lose a lot of the overall metal acceleration, so I'm not sure how we're ever getting to that second attack. However, if there is some realistic way to get those, or fulfill that energy requirement, I would definitely say this card goes up slightly. But with that kind of all said and done, this card shouldn't theoretically see play, just because in the past, it's just, it never saw play in the past. And now with power creep, everything's just gotten so much better. So yeah, I think this card is hard bulk, big bad, which is big sad for the with the future Dawn fan lovers, but this paradox Pokemon is super bulk, 1 out of 5. Next we have Chansey. For colorless, or for 2 colorless, we have Pound for 40, but 3 colorless, we have Egg Roll. Flip until you get tails. It's 60 times the amount of heads. Again, to your meme, evolves into Blissey with the ability Nurse on Duty. Pretty cool ability name. Once during your turn, you may heal all special conditions from your active. If the Toxicroak deck ever starts running amok, I guess people can start teching their own Blissey and healing off that damage, which is hilarious. But other than that, this card shouldn't theoretically see play, just because I guess special conditions aren't super prevalent. But notably, what you could also do is play this as a 0-1 tech in your Lugia deck. If the paralysis decks are ever still a thing, you could opt to go 1 Blissey, 1 Archeops, and heal your active Lugia from being paralyzed, which is kind of funny. But outside of that, I don't see where this fits in. So I think just for that kind of niche play in Lugia, I'm gonna bump it to a 2, but it's probably a 1 by most people's standards out of 5. All right. Let's see. Next, we have Squovet with the ability Hidey Hole, which is pretty funny. Once during your turn, you may shuffle your hand and return the cards to the bottom of your deck without looking at them, then draw a card. So this ability is pretty unique. In that it kind of stops yourself from decking out, which is cool. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how useful it is, other than just stopping that win condition. So I mean, if control ever sees a lot of play, you could play this guy and at least at a bare minimum, probably tie your opponent. But would that work if you had no cards in hand? I don't believe it would work. No, it shouldn't. Because the then clause means that you have to shuffle your hand and put something on the bottom. So I don't think it reads just draw a card. Because if it did, then it would be a lot better. But yeah, I think this is strictly so you don't lose to like random control stuff, which is cool, but pretty like extremely niche unless control archetypes return, which they might with the new Oranguru, but we'll have to see how that goes. But tentatively, this card is probably around a 2 out of 5. Just because it's not complete bulk. It has some like niche use, but it entirely depends on how popular a controlling style strategy is in the meta for it to see play. And it evolves into Greedent, which has Bite for 50, and for triple colorless, Enhanced Fang, 80 damage. If it has a tool attached, it does 80 more. So this is strictly worse than Squovet. This card is straight bulk. 160 for 3, kind of the benchmark of just being really lackluster. Super 1 out of 5 material. And then we have Indeedee, which has the Raise Well. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play and play it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. So that's a unique style of effect. I just don't know how useful that is in the current meta. So I'd say this is another one of the cool bulk style. I'd say it falls 1 out of 5. But I mean, if there's ever some strategy that inhibits evolving like there is in GLC, you could maybe put this in the colorless GLC archetype to play around the fighting fossil Archeop strategy. But outside of that, it's super niche card. All right, moving on, we have Tandem Mouse, basic, kind of generic attacks, evolves into Mouse Hold, stage 1. It does 70 for each Mouse Hold in play. So, ideal scenario, you get 4 of these guys out, you're hitting 2, realistically, probably 260 with a double turbo energy, for a, which is really efficient, actually. But it is relatively difficult to, I guess, consistently get that strategy out. However, 260 is quite a lot of damage, so I think this card is worth exploring, and I look forward to seeing if we get. I look forward to seeing if we ever kind of give this guy a go. Zoro Mouse, let's go. Yo, that's an idea. Yeah, we could just jam this guy in Zoroark. And yeah, it's just it's probably it probably fights for the Fennekin spot and like the Cincino spot, but who knows? Yeah, it's a lot of damage for not a lot of energy, so I'll probably build this. It seems better than bulk. It's probably around a 2 out of 5 if I had to guess. Zoro Mouse, full send. Alright, we have Squawkabilly. I like the kind of generic, I like the art on this card and like the style. It's very suave bird. Okay, well, yeah, so we have suave bird. It has call for family, which is cool. So this card cracked in pre-releases, confirmed. And then fly for 60, flip a coin of tails, the attack fails. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during opponent's next turn. So this card seems really good in like a pre-release style format, where everything's limited, because being able to hit 2 for 60 is a lot of damage for a basic. So yeah, in limited, like super good card. Outside of that, in standard, this card is probably bulk. So limited, like a 3 to 4 out of 5, but for actual standard play, this card's a 1. And then we have Cyclizar, the basic tooling for 1 energy. 1 colorless energy, just draw 2, and for 3 colorless, it just does a vanilla 100 damage. So yeah, this is probably about as generic as it gets when it comes to just normal type Pokemon. They really did this guy dirty, considering his kind of general role of being a bike Pokemon in the game for a lot of people. So I kind of thought they would I guess do more with this actual character. Maybe we'll get a EX of him in the future. Yeah, this card is extremely generic, and it's kind of infuriating how lazy they were with this. The one caveat to this being cool is that on top of it being a draw 2, it also has free retreat. So it fits with the kind of theme of it, being like a fast Pokemon. But I'm not sure if it will see play. Because I believe we still have other free retreaters in the format. But if you ever need a free retreater, you can consider this guy, just because he has 110 HP and he's weak to fighting, which is not super common. So this is I'd say a 1.5 out of 5. Like very close to complete bulk, but the fact that it has free retreat means it's not 100% worthless. All right, moving on. Electricity Generator. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 basic lightning and attach them to your bench lightning Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. So this card is absolutely insane. Even though you only get to look at the top 5, you can high roll and hit multiple energy, which is insane. The fact that it only goes to lightning Pokemon doesn't make it balanced in terms of kind of isolating it to one specific type of Pokemon and one overall archetype. So, or like, I guess a certain subset of archetypes. So I guess that's good from the balance perspective, but for lightning deck stonks are through the roof, as we were talking about earlier. And I think this card is a 5 out of 5 because even if you hit just one basic lightning energy, you're still getting extra acceleration on an item card. But you can even high roll and get up to 2 basic lightning energy cards. You will have to play You will have to play at least probably around 12 to 13 lightning energy to get like the most use out of this card, just because that's how it used to work in the past with Max Elixir. But this card is insane and we'll see a lot of play. I'd say, yeah, definitely 5 out of 5. It's cool we are getting an Ultra Ball reprint. This card has consistently been good and I think is continuing to be a 5 out of 5. This translation isn't right because you have to fulfill the discard requirement. But we'll just scroll past that. Picnic Basket, heal 30 from all Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So this is cool because it's like a one-time Serena style effect on an item card. So I could see this being paired with something like Gardevoir if you are playing something like Shadow Rider and you're trying to get a lot of energy onto a lot of different Pokemon at once. You can kind of take advantage of this card to heal everything. It reminds me a lot of Freshwater Set, which didn't see a ton of play in its time. But it is, I guess, interesting because we are getting cards which are putting a lot of damage onto your own Pokemon. So something to look out for. And I would say, yeah. That's so true. Dang, Iron Treads countered. Absolutely. Freshwater will be great with Gardevoir. Yeah, I mean it's like that, right? But yeah, direct Iron Treads counter, absolutely Rye. I don't think this card is going to see a ton of play, but if it were to see play, my first impression is that it would be jammed in something like a Gardevoir deck. So I think if I were to play that in that, it might be like a 2 to 3 out of 5. But realistically, I'm guessing this card is just going to be like a 1 out of 5. I'm not sold on the Picnic Basket, but maybe someone will change my mind. We're getting Rare Candy back. That's cool. Glad to see it, especially with all the new stage 2s we're having. Rocky Helmet, again, getting it back. It saw like a little bit of play. So yeah, not sure how useful it'll be this time around, but It's cool that we do have it as an option. I'd say it probably sits around a 2 out of 5. But maybe a 1. All right, new supporter, trainer, Katie. Using this card ends your turn, shuffle your hand into your deck, and draw 8. So this card, if theoretically, if they change turn 1 supporters, their supporter rules, this card is nuts. Like if they do something like allow supporters but not attacks again, this card becomes insane. It would remind me of just like turn 1 Lily back in Sun and Moon format. But if that is not the case, then this card is really really kind of subpar. Just because if you compare it to something like research, you're only getting an additional card. Are they changing turn 1 supporters? Is that a rumor? It's not a rumor that I've heard, but in terms of when they usually do rule changes, it usually happens whenever they release a new generation. So if they were to change supporters, they were to change going first and going second rules like they did with the release of Sword and Shield, it's possible, and that would change the rating of this card. But I think as it stands, this card is just a 1. Although you do get shuffle draw 8, it's realistically only going to be played on turn 1, and I would just rather have research, which is useful at like all stages of the other game. I guess they would have said it when they announced the tool rule. I mean, hopefully, right? But who really knows? I'm guessing just because of how far out the actual set releases that they probably aren't changing the rules. But if they do end up changing them, you should come back to this card and consider it. And then CJ, I like the Slowbro with Emergency Jelly over Freshwater. Yeah, I mean Slowbro with Jelly is pretty cool actually. But we were actually thinking potentially doing something like multiple Slowbro with Cheryl. It's like, whose line is it anyway? The points are made up and the rules don't matter. Absolutely. But yeah, I was talking earlier. I think if you develop multiple Slowbro and you just Cheryl, that could be a really cool combo. But we'll have to see how good that actually is. But yeah, I'm not sold on this card because I'd rather play research like 9 times out of 10. Speaking of, we get the new research for the Violet games, the other supporter, and we get Arvin, his son. Search your deck for an item card and a Pokemon tool card, reveal them and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So this realistically could be cute, I guess. Yeah, Slowbo Cheryl is a cool combo. Depends on what you pair it with. Yeah, for sure. My thought was maybe something like Urshifu VMAX, the Rapid Strike. But I don't know. We'll have to see. In terms of how playable Arvin is, I mean, it's like Irida, but you grab a tool, so that could be cool. I guess it's like kind of unique in that it grabs specifically item and tool. So I think this card just gets better as more cards come out. So I mean, currently I'm not seeing a spot where this fits in, but yeah, CJ, you could definitely play both for sure. Just all in heal on Snorlax. Or I'm sorry, Slowbro, why not? For sure. Got the jellies, got the full healing package, as we like to put it. It's nice because we haven't had healing in so long. But anyway, hopping back to Arvin, I'm not seeing a spot where we see it current or where it's good currently, but maybe if certain tool cards become more prevalent, you could potentially slot this in as a one of, just to get certain uh, certain tools. But we are losing a lot of good tools with rotation. Oh, Lord Beef, there's hardly any tools after rotation. Very true. Also, thank you so much, Lord Beef, for the follow. Hope you enjoy your stay here. Gudra Slowbro with Jelly and Cheryl. Now you're talking, CJ. You got the vibes. But yeah, I think on set release, when rotation happens, Arvin is probably a 1 out of 5. But as we get more sets, it could jump up. Who really knows? Irida was inherently a really strong card too, but the effect of grabbing a tool was replaced with grabbing a water Pokemon, and that turned into Shady Dealing, so that got abused that way. And I just don't see how Arvin kind of stands up to that, and being able to grab a tool doesn't really compare to grabbing a Drizzile. So I'd say definitely a 1 out of 5 for that guy. Hopping down to Miriam, supporter. Choose up to 5 Pokemon cards from your discard pile, reveal them, shuffle them into your deck, then draw 3. Okay, now we're talking. That's a really cool card. We are losing Ordinary Rod, so I believe this and Clara are going to be like our main recovery going forward. And I actually really like the flavor of this card. Not only do you get the effect of like an Ordinary Rod, but also you get the additional benefit of drawing 3. I think this card definitely could see some play. And I think it's sitting at a solid 3, maybe even a 4 out of 5 for me. Drizzile is rotating doors, yes. Yeah, this card, I'm thinking of like comparing it to like Avery in terms of draw 3 plus get an effect. And this effect seems way stronger than drawing this card seems way stronger than drawing just the or than limiting bench. I think shuffle draw 5 Pokemon is up to 5 Pokemon is really unique effect. Doors let's see. You don't think there's any energy recovery after rotation? Except Raihan and Roseanne's backup and Energy Recycler. That's a big one. We do keep Energy Recycler. Do keep that in mind. That card was reprinted. I believe it's an E-block card. So we do keep Energy Recycler. It might even be F-block. It's like somewhere in the range of like Brilliant Stars or for like Fusion Strike or something like that. But we definitely keep a decent amount of energy recovery. So yeah, I really like Miriam. I think this card is like a 3 or a 4 out of 5. Probably a 3 though, realistically. Battle Styles, looking at it now. All right, sounds good, CJ. Yeah, so we're keeping that. And then let's see. Last card, we have Mesagosa. Once during each player's turn, that player may flip a coin. If heads, search their deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into their hand. So yeah, this is a pretty cool card. It's Pokeball on a stadium. So this card probably will see some kind of play, just because since we are losing stuff, we are losing a lot of decent Pokemon search and stadiums. So decks that just need a stadium to play will probably just play this to up their consistency. It does help their opponent, which is probably not great. But it, I guess the option is there. Yeah, it is cool. You can grab evolution Pokemon. So It's this card screams like a 2 out of 5 for me. Not bulky, but or like not like straight bulk, but putting this in play and helping your opponent is not something I necessarily want to be doing. Let's see. In addition to main Scarlet EX and Violet EX, there are 3 starter set EX products that will release at the same time. So we have these. More cards to go through. Okay, Breloom is bulk. Let's see, Mesagosa will get removed from decks after you get 2 tails and opponent heads every turn. Yeah, that sounds about right, Lord Beef. I could see that for sure. The absolute brick rage, destroy that card. Big truthers, Bitballin. It's a cool card to come out in a base set though, because there's definitely going to be like better cards that come out after that, but it might see play once we just hit random rotation or whatever. I'm not super impressed by this stuff. Tropius is a 1 out of 5. Super low damage. Meowscarada, 40 damage for 1. Trick Cloak. You may put an energy attached from your opponent's Pokemon into their hand. Way too low damage. Also bulk. Tarantula. I believe this might be a reprint of the one in the set. I don't know, the catcher like style effect sounds really familiar, but I could be wrong. Okay, we have Riolu and then Lucario EX. So we have stage 1, Fighting Colorless, low kick, 60 damage, and then Fighting Colorless or Sphere, 160. It does 50 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 160, Snipe 50. It's cool. That's like not the worst damage output. However, I'm not sure how we're fulfilling the damage the energy requirement outside of like Koraidon. So this guy seems a little too vanilla and slow to be super good, and I'm gonna put it at a 1 out of 5. I'm not really sold on this card. Stonejourner, basic ability Exoskeleton. It takes 20 less from attacks. Again, has an ability, but vanilla in terms of you just treat it like a 150 HP basic Pokemon with an attack that's just a vanilla 100 damage. So this card is definitely a 1 out of 5 bulk. And then we have another Lechonk. I believe this card we are getting as a promo card in English through the Pokemon Center. So that's cool. But not super great. I'm glad they're reprinting Energy Switch and Energy Search, both healthy cards. More reprints. We are getting Pokegear again. That's super cool. Love that consistency. Here's the Switch and Pokemon Catcher reprints we were expecting. Another Judge reprint. I like the art on this Judge. This is super cool. Not sure if Bluefish is still in here, but I think this is probably my favorite Judge in terms of art. It's pretty cool. Then we have Youngster, which is just a Shauna reprint. That seems bad. Nimona, also just a Rival Hop reprint. Just generic 1 out of 5 bulk. We might actually have to play Youngster now that I'm thinking about it, because we are losing Marnie, so do keep this card in mind. Who knows? I'd rather not play a Shuffle Draw 5, but I'm not sure what other Shuffle Draw we actually have in the format. I have to go back and look. Alright, Fuecoco Ampharos deck. Fuecoco. Let's see. Skeledirge, Fiery Vocals, 50, attach up to 2 basics to your Pokemon, 2 basic energy cards to your Pokemon in any way you like. And then Fire Colorless, 190, does 32 itself. So, I like the effect, being able to accelerate. I don't like the effect being on a stage 2 though. So, yeah, this card seems trash. I'm with you, Clam. I'm not yeah, Youngster is Shauna, so I guess you get your pick of Shauna or Youngster, but uh ideally there's just another card we can play that is neither of those cards. But yeah, I think Skeledirge, I love the style. I love the, I guess, art and the general flavor of this card. Or like the general flavor of this Pokemon, but I think the actual card itself is Garbo, 1 out of 5. Then we have Mareep, which goes into Flaffy, which can be the other Flaffy from Evolving Skies, to keep that in mind. And then we get an Ampharos EX for 1 Lightning, does 60. And then Lightning Colorless, 140. You may discard 2 energy. If you do, it jumps up to 240. So this seems pretty good. Because you do have the inherent synergy with the Flaffy you already are playing. The fact that we do lose Air Balloon makes me a little apprehensive on whether or not this is actually a card that will see a ton of play. People are hyping us up because of this in combination with the like Lightning Max Elixir thing. Yes, you could do 220 with double turbo. That is true. So I mean, 240 is nice, but if we have to pick between Ampharos EX and Magnezone, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know, chat. I think personally, if I have to pick between this and Ampharos and Magnezone, I'm going Magnezone like 9 times out of 10. But if there's like a Lightning Box style deck that is already playing the Flaffy, you could obviously just splash this in that and just kind of develop this as an attacker out of nowhere. So I'd say this card definitely has potential. I'm just not sure if I mean, personally, I'd rather just play the Magnezone. But yeah, its general splashability makes it super cool that they made a Flaffy. Lord Beef, I think Emolga can sub for Air Balloon. That's true. That's definitely true. I think this lies somewhere in between a 3 and a 4 for me personally. Like, the versatility is seemingly lackluster compared to the Magnezone. And the damage output, while either on par or slightly better, has a more difficult requirement to fulfill, and you don't get the benefit of spamming Cheryl that you do with Magnezone. So I think this card, yeah, somewhere between a 3 and a 4. And I could be wrong. This could pop off in some kind of weird Lightning Box deck. I'm just personally not seeing it. Like 2 Miraidon, 2 Regieleki, 4/4/2 Mareep, Ampharos line. What you're gonna try? With Lightning Elixir is faster than you might think. I mean, that's true, Beef, but the Regieleki is only getting the benefit for the Miraidon, since it's only basics that get the additional 30 damage. And so I could realistically see just Miraidon Regieleki being its own deck. with just playing its own like turbo style with the max elixir card. So yeah, I mean it could be good, but I'm not the. Oh, you meant the single prizer Reggie? Okay, like the Evolving Skies one, because that could be cool. Yeah, and then all right, we have our Rotom. So we just kind of ignore this text right here. Not really important. The art is clearly another 5 out of 5. Man, I'm looking good. Oh my god, chat. What a good angle. Might I say. Alright. 5 out of 5. Nothing else has to be said there. Another Lechonk. Flamigo. Pretty generic. Nothing special. Alright. That's about that. And I think. Okay. So we have Quaxly, Mimikyu, Alomomola, pretty bulky. Not convinced there. We have Quackquavel, ability Energy Carnival. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So that seems cute, but pretty slow, especially on a stage 2. It's cool that they have that on everything though. That it can accelerate to anything though. So at least it's kind of versatile, but not super playable. That being said, I don't know, could be cool. Energy acceleration, I always kind of overvalue, so I'm gonna give this card a 2 out of 5. Not complete bulk, but really slow. Also, you want to try Radiant Charjabug, probably worse than Greninja, but still want to try it. Fair enough, Beef. You do you. Make those dreams happen. You got the deck. You got the idea. Test it. Put it into action. Prove everyone wrong. I like that. You got it. Crush it. Crush it. Dedenne. Second bite. 30 plus 10 for each damage counter on your opponent's active. Could be used in the Gardevoir deck. I never, at this point, I'm never, what's it called? Yeah. Any like psychic Pokemon that's a basic that has a cool attack, I'm not super upset about. Any energy to take anything is respectable, but for its stage 2, you want to take Klinklang. Yeah, no, that makes 100% sense. CJ, yeah. Yeah, I don't think the card ever sees play. But who knows really? Maybe there's another Quackquavel that comes out that's an EX that suddenly you get a whole bunch of Quaxleys in play. And then now you have one of those to help accelerate to your Duck EXs or whatever. Or Quackquavel EXs, so I don't know. But yeah, that seems good. And then let's see, Mimikyu. Or let's see. Dedenne out of 5, I would give probably a 2. Kind of the execute attack has sometimes seen play in the past, and the fact that you can play it in Gardevoir makes me want to overvalue it, so I'm gonna jam it at a 2. There's something that discards an energy when it attacks and doesn't get one shot. Could be an okay partner, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Who really knows? I like consistent energy acceleration, and since we are losing Scoop Up Net, Klinklang does lose a lot of inherent long-term value. Alright. Mimikyu EX. 1 Psychic Void Return, 30 damage. You may switch this with one of your bench Pokemon. Psychic Colorless, 30 damage for each energy attached to both active. Again, could see play in the Gardevoir deck. So I don't hate this. It is a basic, and it's kind of a glass cannon, which makes it good. It is generic in terms of doesn't have an ability kind of thing, but it theoretically could hit like a truck. So I think we jam this at a 2.5 out of 5. Flittle, Bulk, Zangoose, another generic Sisla or Sicelizar. Energy Retrieval reprint, which is cool. Crushing Hammer reprint, I think healthy for the game. Vitality Band reprint, so that's, I guess, going forward probably one of our better tool cards we have, which is kind of sad, but happens. And then I think that's everything. All right, overall thoughts, chat. We have a couple bangers, but overall, pretty solid for kind of laying the foundation for Scarlet and Violet as a block overall. Hopefully we do get better tools in future sets for sure. I definitely like the flavor, and I think a lot of unique gems like this card in particular, Revavroom, really stuck out. I think we have a lot of good foundation here, and I really like the direction that Pokemon is taking with even their bulk cards, making me have to read even things like Cacnea. So I'm glad that in general it looks like they're improving just they're improving their overall quality of making the set more well-rounded and like exciting to even do things like drafting in the future.